Hello, everyone. Welcome to your daily Court TV update. I'm Vinnie along with Seema Iyer. People talk about reality television,
right?
And those moments. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen next? When you watch a trial, it takes those moments and just they
amplifies.
They pale in comparison because you're talking about at a moment at the end of a trial, someone is going to find out whether or not a jury believes they are guilty or not guilty of murder. It could be a death penalty case. They find out if they live or die. And you see it live, and you see our system performing. And whether you think it's a system of justice or injustice depends on what you see.
There is really nothing better. And when I was a defense attorney full-time in New York, I would not cover my own cases and go watch other trials if they were so compelling. I couldn't miss them. And it was just like my daily schedule was going to watch other people's trials because it is the most entertaining thing in the world.
It's entertaining and it's real, it's dramatic. Now, here at Court TV, all the hosts/anchors were all lawyers. We all practiced. Seema, you were a prosecutor and defense attorney for many years.
Yes, and I'm still a practicing lawyer.
Okay. I don't practice anymore. I'm in retirement status, officially retired from the practice
You're so
of
young.
law.
How could you be retired?
I'm retired. So one thing we want to do here in these videos that we're doing every day is give a little bit of insight into what lawyers think about when they're doing what they do in the courtroom. So today, let's talk about cross-examination.
My favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite. And this is one of those things where if I would hear that one of the great lawyers was cross-examining, I would go watch that.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Because
see, that's not cross-examination.
I wanted to learn because it's such an art form. And do you think it is the hardest part of lawyering?
I think so, because cross-examination is when you are asking questions of a witness from the other side. So this is not someone you have rehearsed with. This is not someone you have prepared.
Right.
This is someone you don't know exactly how they're going to react to what you're doing. And to me, the best cross-examinations that I've seen in my years at Court TV are the lawyers who have prepared.
Oh, yeah.
The ones who have dug up transcripts, and their investigators have dug up things just to kind of get that person to a point where they can expose right in front of the jury that they're not telling the truth. And I've seen it happen.
And this goes to, I'm sure you learned this in law school, the first thing we learned in law school about cross-examination is never ask a question that
you don't know the answer to.
Thank you. And that is in the back of your mind. When you're cross-examining a witness, every question you have to think, do I know the answer to this? And that's where the preparation comes in.
Yeah,
because when you're preparing, you know that.
All right, what's the difference between direct examination when I call my own witness and cross-examination when you're questioning my witness?
Well, in direct examination, usually you're asking a question of your own witness and it's open-ended, so the answer can be an explanation, a narrative. The key to cross-examination is you want a yes or a no answer.
And from my perspective, some of the most effective cross-examination, the answer doesn't even matter. It's all about the question and the way the lawyer asks that question, unless you get them to admit to a lie.
Right.
But if you're just asking questions to kind of tell your story, I've seen that done so effectively.
No. I agree with you, but the thing is, okay, so the judge will say in his closing instructions, and he actually says in the opening instructions too, at least in New York, that it's not the question that counts. It is the question that coupled with the answer that is evidence. So I understand what you're saying, and I completely agree with you. Like when it comes to lawyering, you could get a lot of points with the jury by asking a question, like, isn't it true that you wore a purple tie today?
Yeah, and let's pretend you're an expert on the witness stand, right?
Okay.
Ms. Iyer, are you getting paid for your testimony today?
Can I be called Dr. Iyer?
Dr. Iyer.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Iyer, are you getting paid for your testimony today?
Yes.
And your rate is what, $350 an hour?
Actually, it's $5,000 an hour.
Okay, so how much have you been paid for this whole bit of testimony here today?
$4,200,000.
Then you just kind of look at the jury and say, you're going to believe that?
Can you believe that? She's a hack.
Have you ever had that moment, and the greatest cross-examiner in the world of television was Perry Mason, because this guy would come in, cross-examine a witness and get them to admit to the murder and set his client free. Has that ever happened?
No, it doesn't.
You never had a Perry Mason moment?
Okay, wait, I'm sorry. I did have a moment when a cooperator was not supposed to admit that he committed the crime with my client, and that he actually instructed my client to commit the crime, and that happened, which did change the result. So I did have
Did the
one of those
courtroom go
moments.
like?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's
No,
like
I
game
did. I
over.
did have that. But here's the other strategy kind of tip. You know, the inside baseball part of cross-examination, and that is, and I'm sure you learned the same thing. You would ask the questions almost like 3, 2, 1. And then the 0 is the question that you don't ask, because you want to leave the jury hanging. So you ask enough foundation questions to get to your point. But if you're not completely certain that this witness is going to give you what you want, you leave the last one open so you can just look at the jury and be like, come on, people.
Exactly.
You know what's up.
I never heard it called the old 3, 2, 1, 0,
That's
but
okay.
that's a good way to do it, and I've seen it a lot
Right.
in the trials I've covered.
And when you
but
cover
a
it,
lot
you
of-
hear it. You
but
can,
a
you
lot
know.
of the attorneys ask that last question. I'm like, no.
See, okay, so you get what I'm talking
step
about,
too far,
right?
yep.
Because you know what? It's tempting.
Yeah.
It's like
But some
chocolate
things are-
cake. It's
some-
very tempting. You want to just go ask the question, but you can't. You got to hold back.
Some things are better left unsaid,
Right.
and let the jury come to that conclusion. All right. Anything else on cross-examination?
I will say this.
I'm getting ready to dismiss you as my witness.
Okay,
But
so the last thing I want to say is that the great thing about leaving the jury with the impression is that you come back in closing arguments, which hopefully we'll talk about on another
Exactly.
day, and then you tie it up into an all nice, beautiful bow.
exactly.
You get the big NG if you're the defense.
Or maybe the person actually did it and they're found guilty. If you're the prosecutor,
Whatever.
Anyhow.
Okay.
Court TV relaunching this May, folks. Don't miss it. You'll have the nation's biggest trials. It's live coverage, gavel to gavel. You get to see and hear all the witnesses and all of that impressive and captivating cross-examination.
Your front row seat to justice.